Know what time it is?
Here we go. It's my time to rise. It's my time to
It's
shine.
time to rise. It's time to rise. It is 7:30 on Saturday morning. 28 days of accountability. It's time to rise. Good morning, Pleasant. Good morning. It's time to rise. It is goal chasing time. That's what time it is. It's goal chasing time. It's Saturday morning, and I know it's probably a lot to get up at 7:30 on Saturday morning just to look at me. Good morning, Terrell. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining. Again, I really appreciate you. You are on fire. Good morning, Tamara. Thank you so much for joining. Y'all know what time it is. It's time to rise. It's time to shine. It's goal chasing time. And in order for us to chase our goals, we already said that if we want something different in life, we have to do something different. It requires a different action from us. So getting up at 7:30 on Saturday morning, that means that we're doing something different. Good morning, Miss Iris. Thank you so much for joining. It's 7:30. We on our 28 days of accountability. So you all are holding me accountable because I know that you're waiting for me each and every morning of February of this month. So I have to show up, and I am being accountable to you as well. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you. Yes, and that's it. We know that's our intro. That's how we're going to start the rest of our 28 days, listening to Kelly Price telling us that it's our time to rise. It's our time to shine, because that's the image that I want you to have in your mind when you think about accountability. I want you to think about it from a happy place. And every time you hear that song, whenever it's played on the radio or whenever you play it yourself, you will think about accountability and how you can be responsible to yourself. Good morning, Aprecia. Good morning, Miss Carol, my Mississippi connections. Thank you all so much for joining. I really appreciate you. Today is day 16. That means we are more than half of the way there. We're more than half of the way there. So I ask that you like, love, and share the video out to your community. Thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate you. And for those who don't know me, my name is Ebony Moncho, and I am a motivational speaker, an accountability coach, and the CEO of 360 HR Solutions. I teach entrepreneurs, leaders, and influencers how to build success. And we do that by helping them to create structure, to develop processes, and to implement solutions that stick around, right? Those that are sustainable. And I know that I have some entrepreneurs on the line. I know that I have some influencers on the line, and I already know that we are all leaders. So that means you and you and you. This applies to you because you are a leader, whether that's in your home or in your community or on your job. If you are a parent, you are a leader. If you are a mentor, you are a leader. So that means this information is for you as well. So today is day 16, and we are talking about what are environmental cues. What are environmental cues? Because we have to make sure that since we are talking about how do we become accountable, how do we become responsible, and how do we become goal crushers, it's what we're talking about throughout these 28 days of accountability. And so in order for us to crush our goals, in order for us to smash them, right, in order for us to move away from flogging, what we talked about on yesterday, we have to make sure that our environment is conducive to the outcome that we are looking for. Our environment must be conducive. So, what are environmental cues? Environmental cues are the objects in our surroundings that trigger a certain thought, it triggers a certain desire, And then it causes our behavior to then react or form in a certain way. So environmental cues are those objects, it's those triggers, it's those thoughts, right? That then form how we are going to behave due to what we have seen, what we have heard, right? Or what we are around. Those things are what form how we then react. So, and it's important to understand that our minds are easily swayed, right? We are human beings, and as a human being, our minds are easily swayed by outside forces. We sometimes we try, and you know what, we don't want it to be that way, but that is just the way we are designed. That's the way we are made, that our minds are swayed by the things that we see, hear, and the people in which we are around. So it's important that if we're looking to complete our goals, if it's our objective, if it's our mission to make sure that we are crushing those goals and that we are changing, right, from the inside out, because that's what it's about as well. We want to make sure that we are making positive change from the inside out. And if that's what we're trying to do, we need to make sure that our environment is set up for our success. Okay? We want to make sure that we set up our environment for success. So in order for us to do that, we have to think about that if there is something good that we're trying to accomplish, we want to make sure that we make it easy to accomplish that good thing. And if it's something that is bad that we know that we need to stay away from, we need to make sure that it is almost virtually impossible for us to get to that thing, right? If we're trying to make sure that we stay away from junk food because we know that we're trying to change our eating habits, then if we go to the grocery store and we find that when we are back at home and we are unpacking our groceries to put them up, if we find that we have chips and we have cookies and we have animal crackers and we have Cheez-Its, Lord, I know I love me a good Cheez-It. If we have those things, then we are going to eat them because they are in our environment, right? And so we have to make sure that we are making alterations to our physical environment. And when we do that, we create positive subconscious motivators that we send to our brain that then make it easier for us to accomplish the goal that we set out in the very first place, right? And we know that we've already said that the reverse effect of that is that if we don't have an environment that is aligned with our goals, then we're going to find out that it's going to be very difficult for us to influence our own selves to be successful. And that's what this is about. This is about being able to influence yourself to be successful. So we've already said that we know if we have choices that are around us that are undesirable to our outcome, then it becomes hard to make that choice. So let me give you a few examples. If you hang around people that gossip all the time, sooner or later, what do you think you're going to do? You're going to start to gossip because that's what you're around. If you have decided that you are no longer going to hit that blunt, right? You are no longer going to smoke that loud, or you are no longer going to drink alcohol, if that's what you've decided, and then you still hang around your group of friends, your circle, and they all smoke and drink, sooner or later, you're going to find yourself right back in the position where you are smoking and drinking. Because what my mom used to always tell me is that it is difficult to get people to do what you're trying to do. It's more easier for them to pull you onto their track to get you to do what they're doing, right? And so we want to make sure that we are setting ourselves up and making sure that our environment says that we are on a mission to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. So if we want to be successful, that means that we need to hang out and be around and be in the place in which successful people are, right? We want to make sure that the things that successful people do, those are the things that we are doing. Think about it, right? As a parent, we know that if we put a television in our children's rooms, what are they going to do? They're going to spend a lot of their time watching TV. If we think back to when we were growing up, we didn't have a lot of televisions that were around. You may have had that TV that was in the front room, right? But everybody didn't have a TV in their room. And what happened? We found ourselves outside playing more. We were interacting with the neighbors and the neighbors' kids. You know, it wasn't a lot of this in my room with the door closed on my computer, right? So our environment back then dictated that we become more social. And so that's the way we need to make sure that we are setting ourselves up as adults. We want to make sure that our desired choices are within our arm reach. Anything that we desire, whatever it is that we want to come to us, we want to make sure that it is within our desired, it is within our arm reach, if it is our desired outcome. Now, unfortunately, you know, we are the product of our environment. That's just what it is. And that's why in the 12-step program, they teach the participants that you have to change 3 things. You have to change the people that you're around. You have to change the places that you frequent, and you have to change the things that you are the things that you do the most, the things that you are comfortable with doing. You must change your people, places, and things in order for you to see a successful end result to the 12-step program. Now, there are 3 reasons why environmental cues are important. I know it's Saturday morning, so I don't want to hold you that long. So I'm going to give you these 3 quick reasons, and we're going to get out of here, okay? So the first reason why environmental cues are important is because our decisions are largely influenced by what's around us. I read this story about a bookstore owner, and this was back when the Rubik's Cube was popular. Do anybody remember what a Rubik's Cube is? Remember, it was that square. It was 9 squares on each side, right? And each side had its own color. And, you know, we were all fascinated. And back in the day, you would see everybody walking around with their Rubik's Cube, because everybody was trying to, once you disassemble the colors, then you are trying to figure out how you can then get those colors back together. And so this store, this bookstore owner decided that he was going to start selling Rubik's Cubes. And so he put them in the section of his store where he had little games, right? Little gadgets, little games. And so they were booming. The sales were booming. The sales were rocketing. People were coming in, buying. And then by listening to some of by listening to some of the instructions and listening to some of the feedback that he was getting from his customers, some people were saying how difficult it was to try to get the Rubik's Cube back to its original form. So he decided that he was going to sell a manual, a how-to guide on how you can get the Rubik's Cube back to its original form. So he said, I'm going to put the manual in the book section, right? So the Rubik's Cube itself is over in the gadget section, and the manual is over in the book section. And although people told him that this was something that they could benefit from, nobody purchased it. He didn't get any sales on it. And so he began to get frustrated trying to figure out, now these people told me that this was something that they could benefit from. They needed this guide. I went out, I ordered all of these copies. I have it here, and no one is buying it. Why not? He had this worker in the store that came to him and said, you know what, I have a suggestion. Can I offer you a suggestion? I think that if you move the how-to manual right next to the Rubik's Cube, you'll probably see that people will then purchase it, right? And so he thought about that thing, he pondered over it and decided, you know what I'm doing isn't working. So I'm going to listen to this employee and I'm going to move the how-to manuals from the book section and I'm going to set them directly next to the Rubik's Cube itself. And when he did that, oh my God, as my daughter say, he saw that though he could not keep enough how-to manuals on the shelves because they were right next to the actual Rubik's Cube. And that's what we have to understand and learn, that our decisions are influenced by our environment. So if we want to run in the morning, if our gym shoes are in the closet in the back, we're not going to run because our mind is not jogged. We haven't given ourselves a clue, right? Or a cue that we need to get up in the morning and run. Because if that's not something that we already do, we're not going to just automatically start doing it. But if you place your gym shoes by your bed, or if you place them by your door, when you get up in the morning, you are going to see them. And that's going to then cue your mind, I want to run today. And so you will find yourself starting to do that because you have placed things in your environment that will remind you, that will trigger you, that is the behavior that you're looking for. Okay. The next thing, the second reason why it's important to have environmental cues is because we need to steer clear of temptation. And temptation is already all around us. And in order for us to smash our goals, if there are things that we're trying to accomplish, we know that temptation is going to be our biggest hurdle that we need to accomplish. So we need to make sure that our environment is clear of any of those temptations. Because guess what? As humans, we run out of willpower, y'all. I know I do, right? As much as I try to be motivated to accomplish all of my goals, I'm just not going to feel it every day. And that is a human, we are human. And as human beings, we run out of motivation. We run out of willpower, right? And we have to think about that in order for us to do something that is out of the ordinary without us receiving that immediate gratification, it's going to take a lot of willpower. When you think about running, right, you are not going to run today 1 mile and when you come back home, you step on the scale and you have lost those 10 pounds. No, it's going to take for you to stick to that more than one day. You're going to have to do that over and over and over again. So because we don't receive immediate gratification from running one time, right? It's going to take a lot of willpower for us to get up every morning and go out and run or hit the gym. That's going to take a lot of willpower. And there's only so much we can do before we run out of mental energy. Right? Our mental energy runs out. And that's why most times we choose the path that doesn't require a lot of thought. We choose the path that doesn't require a lot of energy. In other words, we choose the easy way out because we don't have to think about it. We don't have to think about the easy route. It requires a lot of energy for us to try to make the changes and the accommodations that we need to make in order for us to goal crush. So I want you to be set up successful from the very beginning. Let me give you another example. If you know that you have an issue with rush hour traffic, right? If you know that requires, that makes you become angry, and you start cursing and you become belligerent because you're in rush hour traffic, then why do you continue to leave at a time that's going to put you in rush hour traffic, right? That is an environmental cue that you can then change. That means you need to get up earlier so that way you can have a smooth sailing ride to work. That means that we need to change that so that way you don't be that angry individual that you become when you drive in rush hour traffic. And anybody that lives in Chicago, you already know that it is a matter of 5 minutes on the 290, right? I don't care. You can leave home at 6:10 and you can have a smooth ride on the 290. That it doesn't matter if you're coming from east or west. But if you leave at 6:15, you can find yourself in bumper to bumper traffic on that 290. And then now there comes my cursing. There comes my attitude. When I get to work, my entire day is thrown off. So if I know that, then I need to make sure that I am out the door by 6:08. So that way I don't have to deal with that traffic. Right? Another example, if we know that we're looking for inspirational videos and motivational videos, and we know that we go to YouTube to do that, but you know what? When we find ourselves clicking on YouTube, we find ourselves looking at makeup tip videos. We find ourselves looking at the latest video that Beyonce just dropped. We find ourselves watching Cardi B and her new twerk video, right? But our whole purpose in going on YouTube initially was because we were looking for TD Jakes, or we were looking for Sarah Jakes and her motivational videos that they drop each and every morning. And so if we know that YouTube is a negative environmental cue, then that means that we need to then download maybe a dedicated motivational app. Right? So that way, when we click on it, the only thing that we're going to get is motivation. So that's why it's important for us to make sure that we steer clear of temptation. That's why our environment needs to be set up in that way. The last reason why environmental cues are important is because they help us form habits. And the more we do things, then the more they become a habit. And the more they become a habit, then the more they become ingrained in who we are. They become ingrained in us as a person. So a habit is something that we do frequently and something that we do automatically in response to our environment. Think about it. When you get up in the morning, right after you have slept all night long, most of us, the very first thing that we do is we go in the bathroom and we wash our face and we brush our teeth. Now, if you take a nap in the middle of the day, most times you don't get up and go in the bathroom and wash your face and brush your teeth, right? Why is that? That's because the habit that you have formed around brushing your teeth is all generated by the fact that you have slept in the bed all night long, you are just waking up, and it's morning. Those three things then trigger you to then your brain to know that I need to go to the bathroom, I need to wash my face, and I need to brush my teeth. Or some people, they go right in the kitchen before they do anything else. They go right in the kitchen and they turn on that coffee pot. Or other people, they immediately drop to the floor on their knees and they start to pray. But all of those habits that you have formed are all triggered by your environment, meaning you have slept all night, you are just waking up, and it is morning. Those three things trigger either the bathroom experience, the coffee experience, or the praying experience. And we have to understand that excellence is not an act, y'all. It's a habit. When we are looking for excellence, that is not an act. Excellence is formed by habits. And so we have to make sure that the habits that we are doing are going to further progress us toward our goal completion. So in other words, our environment can be created in such a way that it not only triggers our behaviors, but it also rewards us, right? It rewards us and it generates habits that we need in order to be successful. So one of the best secrets, I'm going to give you a tip. So make sure you have your pens, your pads ready. One of the best secrets of motivation, right, is that we understand that changing our environment influences our own level of enthusiasm. It influences our level of drive. It influences our level of desire and passion toward the goals that we have set for ourselves. And that's how we make sure that we stay motivated, because we said in the beginning that we don't have a lot of motivation. We don't have a lot of willpower. So we have to make sure that we set up our environment that will assist us in maintaining a consistent flow of willpower and a consistent flow of motivation. Now, if you think about Jesus, right, when he selected his 12 disciples, when he selected them, the words that he said to them was, get up, leave what you are doing and follow me, right? He took them out of their current environment. He took them away from what they knew. Matthew was a tax collector. So he knew that if he stayed in his hometown, he would eventually continue collecting taxes. And so he wanted all of them to be changed, to be renewed. So in order for them to have that change, in order for them to be the person that he wanted them to be, he recognized that he had to take them away from the people that they were around all the time. He had to take them out of their current environment, and he had to change the things that they were accustomed to doing, right? So that's what he did. As he picked each one of his 12 disciples, he told them, leave everything that you have. Leave your family, leave your friends, leave your job as you currently know it, and come and follow me. And that's important. So if you take a look around after this call is over today, after our Facebook Live is over, I want you to take a look around, right? Just start to look at your surroundings. Start within your own house, right? And first, I want you to have your goal that you want to accomplish. Have that at the forefront of your mind. Have what being successful looks like at the forefront of your mind. So not only the goal that you want to accomplish, but the person that you are trying to be, you know, that end result. I want you, we talked about already, to start with the end in mind. So if you are thinking about who it is, what it is, where it is that you want to end up, think about that at the end of our call. Have that at the forefront of your mind, and then start to take a look around. Take a look around at your surroundings, right? Look at your furniture. Look at your walls, right? Look at the clothes that you wear. And think about the people that you surround yourself with. And I want you to ask yourself this one question, and it's going to require you to be honest with yourself now. Ask yourself this one question. Is the surroundings that I have the surroundings of the person that has already achieved the goal that I have in mind? Is my surroundings that of the person? Is it similar to the person that has already achieved the goal that I'm trying to achieve? And if the answer to that question is no, then you know that you have some environmental changes to do. Now, if you know that you're trying to become a millionaire, or if you are trying to become this prestigious corporate CEO, and you look in your closet and all you see is spandex right? And all you see are leggings and all you see are gym shoes, then you know that you're going to have to start very gradually making changes to your wardrobe. I was on my 6 a.m. prayer call yesterday. And one of the ladies who prayed yesterday said something that I thought was so profound. She said that she wants two things. She wants money, right, to surround her. So what she does is she takes her checks, right, and she writes out checks made payable to herself in the dollar amount in which she is looking for, and she have those taped around her house, right, in the places that she frequents the most. In her closet, because she goes in there every single day, she has in there taped checks. In her bathroom, in front of her, in her eyesight vision, she has checks taped there. She has a check, right? In her kitchen, by her coffee pot, she has a check taped there because she wants to begin to program her mind to receive what it is that she wants to receive. And her end goal is she wants God to bless her with X amount. She wants her bank account to reflect an X amount of money. And so she has placed these environmental cues that causes her mind to think about what it is necessary for her to be able to accomplish that goal. She has post-it notes of positive affirmations all around her house. So everywhere she goes, she can see, I am this individual. I can become the person that I want to become. So she is programming her mind to think this way. And we've already said, so a man thinketh, so is he. So it's important that our surroundings paint the picture of who it is that we are trying to become, because then that will make our shift a lot less difficult. Because we already know change is hard, change is difficult. So we have to make sure that our environment is set up in such a way that change isn't difficult. So remember, yesterday, if you didn't watch the call, go back and watch it. A lot of people chose the blue pill. We talked about the red pill versus the blue pill. So if you chose the blue pill yesterday, then that means you are already on the journey to completing your goal. And so when you change your environment, right, it doesn't just help you to navigate the journey, it also helps you to change you as well. And that's what's important. We want to change ourselves from the inside out. So always remember, your environment, it helps you to change. It helps you to accomplish your goals. So don't forget, when you get off the live today, go back, look at your environment, take a look around. And if your environment isn't conducive to losing 20 pounds, if your environment isn't conducive to having a more healthier and a more happier lifestyle, if your environment isn't conducive to establishing a more closer relationship with God, then I say to you today, make those environmental changes that you need to make so you are cued every time you are in your environment about what your end result is. As we say every day, I hope that something was said or done that then pricks your spirit, that then gives you the willpower, the motivation, and the desire to be that goal crusher. To be accountable only means to be responsible for your end result. I thank each and every one of you for joining every single morning at 7:30. I am so excited and elated that I have so many people that have joined me every day and are on this journey with me to 28 days of accountability. We know in the end, something different is going to happen. We are going to be different. If you haven't subscribed to my mailing list, the link is in the description of this live video. Make sure you do so, because tomorrow, every Sunday, I send out tools and tips for you to put inside of your notebook that you are creating. So that way, when this 28 days are over, you can then go back and you can, if you haven't started the process, you will have everything you need to be successful. So make sure you subscribe so that way you will have the next tips and tools that I send out on tomorrow. Thank you again so much for joining. My name is Ebony Moncho. I am a motivational speaker, an accountability coach, and the CEO of 360 HR Solutions. I teach entrepreneurs, influencers, and leaders how to build success. And I do that by helping them to create structure, to develop processes. That's what we're doing now. We're developing processes and implementing solutions that are sustainable. Don't forget, it is your time to shine. It is your time to win, and you already have the power that you need that is within you. You have the power to win. It is your time.